everybody? It's Anisha, and welcome back to the Laughing and Crying podcast. We here, you know what I mean? And I say we, well, I'll get into that later. How about rate my podcast? It's all good. Just go to Apple Podcasts, go to Spotify, go rate the podcast. If you love it, if you like it, 5 stars only. If you hate it, you ain't got to say nothing. You just stay quiet. It's cool. Write a comment because I read those. Apple Podcast allows you to write comments. Go do that. I love reading those. Also, shout out to Patreon. I want to give a shout out to one of my niche gang, Lukia. What's up? Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being part of the niche gang. You know what I mean? We having fun over there talking about Married at First Sight, bonus content, me and Dre acting up. Come be a part of the community because we having fun over there. We hanging out. Anyway, I got somebody in the building. It's Amanda. What's up, Amanda? Say hello to the people.
Hey, people. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing today? I hope your day has been just amazing and blessed and filled with all the things.
Yes, Amanda. I know who you are and the impact that you leave on this world, but I need you to tell the people, who are you? What do you do? What are the things? Let them know.
Man, I am, first of all, I think I'm like just a genuinely like cool person to know. I don't know if that's hard to say about yourself, but I feel like I'm like funny, like I'm nice. Like I have really cool sneakers. I have this pair of sneakers that are like different types of cheetah print. And I think that
I haven't seen these. I think I need to see them.
Girl, you gonna see them.
Yes.
But no, on a serious note, for my day job, I work at a marketing company doing operations, but when it comes to passion and heart and drive, I have a podcast called Table for Daughters, and the focus of everything I do is to reintroduce women to their inheritance and identity as daughters of God. I had a really powerful dream a couple years back where God kind of showed me how I view my relationship with him and the way that I looked at him. And it wasn't the posture of daughter and father. It was the posture of orphan and this God, this father who I wasn't worthy of. So I've been on this journey of being a daughter and finding out what that means. So my mission is to help as many women as possible just have that revelation that's been changing me so much, that I'm a daughter of God. And because of that, I have rights, I have privileges, I have a beautiful love that I get to experience and tap into. And I think so many women are trying to earn God's love versus realizing as a daughter, his love for you is already settled. And when everything flows from that place, it's a game changer.
I love it. I love that you say that you're trying to inspire and impact women around the world because, hey, that's what I'm here for. Not just women, my dudes who are here for the podcast. I'm here for you too, but I'm here for the impact. You hear me? And identity is huge.
It's
especially in 2022 is huge. And for you to be inspiring and encouraging people to walk into it, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So over here on the Laughing and Crying podcast. Well, first of all, I need everybody to go on their Spotify's and on the Apple podcast right now and look for Table for Daughters and hit subscribe or hit that notification bell because I want you to listen and soak in the content. So go do that. But we got to start to get it cracking over here, though. The way the show is going to go today is we're going to do, and let me tell you the story. Amanda's going to tell us a story.
Oh, wow.
Yes. We're going to jump in. Okay. And she's going to tell us a story. And then we're going to jump into a conversation about friendship. I know it's crazy because we're over here and we're always talking about relationship. And I know I bring in marriage a lot because that's my season of life. But I think it's such an important conversation to have about friendship because I personally believe that outside of self, all other relationships kind of spark off how you treat your friends. And you can tell the content of the way that you see relationships from your friendships starting. And so we're going to talk about that. And it's going to be a good show. So let's kick it off. Amanda, what story are you going to tell us today?
Listen, well, first of all, I have to say this is a dream come true. I feel like in my mind, I'm seeing myself like, in kindergarten, they had those super colorful like carpets that had like numbers or letters or something on it. Your elementary school didn't have that.
Numbers, yeah. I
Like the
think I
big
was trying to figure out where you're going with it, but I'm here with you. I'm gonna ride on the wave.
I'm gonna tell you a story, but like they had the big carpet with the numbers and the letters, and like you would sit on the carpet for story time. And
Right.
had a book, right?
I feel you.
On the carpet with all the colors.
Because we about to have story time.
Right. So
yes.
Like this is a dream fulfilled in this moment.
So she said grab your popcorn.
All of it.
And sit in crisscross applesauce and get ready.
Listen, don't do that, honey. What, 31 crisscross, don't applesauce. All right. I might not be able to get back up.
We ain't gonna get back up.
But no, my story is a story. I'm gonna throw it back to high school. Fun fact, me and Nisha actually went to the same high school. And I feel like we all went to prom together junior year.
Yes, I did.
It was like a whole group of us. We all went to prom together. I remember my mom, she found my dress at Ross. Y'all, I had this $50 Calvin Klein black like party dress. It was like silky. It was $50 at Ross. I remember like it was yesterday. So we take the pictures for prom. We go to the prom. Everything is cool. So after prom, myself, another one of my best friends, and two other friends we went to high school with, it was like after prom and we're just like hanging out. So it's like, let's go see the move. Let's just go see what's happening. Let's find a party. Let's do something. Now, mind you, we were all good girls. So we was just out here trying to find some trouble, trying to do something a little bit different. So at the time, my friend was talking to this guy. So she decided like, hey, we're gonna go over to his house. We just gonna chill, like just very simple, very kosher. So we had no business going over there. Our parents didn't know we were going over there, and nobody knew we was going over there. It was just four of us going over to this house.
How fast?
Nah, girl, we wasn't fast. We was slow. Because I'm gonna tell you, we were very much not fast. So we go over to the house, and I don't know where y'all live, all y'all who are listening to this lovely podcast, but in the South, there's a lot of like ditches, like right next to the street. So my friend, she parked on the side of the road and I was in the passenger seat in the front seat. But when I got out, I stepped like straight into the ditch on the side of the road. Like I didn't touch the actual like concrete of like the road. I fell straight into a ditch.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I was scarred up, bruised up. We still went into the house to the party. It was awkward.
Okay, I need you to back up a little bit for the people.
I was in a lot of pain.
Because this is theater of the mind. So I need you I need you to back up a little for the people. So, okay, so we're sitting in the car. Are we inebriated at all?
No.
Okay.
There was no drinking. Y'all, I promise you, I just didn't see the ditch. Like
that is so funny.
I'm trying to open the door and just with confidence, like I got out. Now, mind you, it was a little dark. Now, prom is like 10, 11 o'clock.
Right.
So in my defense, it was not 8 o'clock in the morning when the sun is shining bright.
Right.
Everything. It was like the evening time. So yeah, I just stepped out the door and fell right into a ditch.
Did you roll?
I would say I roll. I definitely dropped though. Like it was just a lot of dropping.
I can't handle it,
to be honest. And then my dress was short, so like my legs were exposed. So I got all these scars on my legs. The other three friends with me, they laughing. Nobody's trying to pull me out the ditch. I'm having to climb myself out. I also had on heels. I didn't mention that. I had on high heels. So that just made it even more tragic. And then we about to go into my friend's boyfriend's house at a party and all these people seeing me. And then I have a like lighter skin. So my bruises, they red. They showing up. It's not cute.
Oh no. What happened when you got to the party?
You tell me I had to tell the whole story. I think I've said enough. All y'all need to know is I fell in the ditch.
We need to know more.
Embarrassing nights of my life. And I'm clumsy. I can't tell y'all how many times I've fallen since that day. It's been pretty tragic. Have you been with me for a fall? I feel like you have. Or some type of clumsy moment.
Not as dramatic as a ditch, sideways. But you might have fell.
I probably did. I do walk sideways too.
Okay.
All right. That's story time.
Guys, I just want to let you know that I actually, as I'm laughing at Amanda, I actually have a story in which there was a tragic fall. But that will come on a different episode of Laugh and Crime podcast. Maybe I'll tell them on the Patreon because it's it's that tragic, and I can only now start to laugh at it. It's bad. So I laugh, but I'm laughing because I feel your pain. But that's hilarious. Wait, you guys already heard me fall. One of the stories. I mean, I fall a lot too, I guess. In college, I fell. That's not good.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's not good. Okay, so let's get into this conversation. I'm ready for it. So like I said, we're gonna talk about friendship. Amanda and I have been friends for 15 years.
Man, let's see. Oh man.
We're so old. Well, it's like 17, 18 years actually.
A long time. Wow.
We've almost known each other for 20 years. That's a lie.
Okay, wait.
Somebody else do the math because I'm not here for the math.
Pull out my calculator. So it's 2022, and we met each other in 2004.
Yeah.
It's 18 years. What?
Let's just take a moment of silence.
It's not even like a fabrication. Miss Williams class English.
Right. Miss Williams class English.
Miss Williams always told us we weren't gonna never come back and say hello.
And we didn't. I hope, you know what? This is a shout out.
Miss Williams, we love you.
Miss Williams, if you are out there and if you come across
you're the best podcast, teacher. You instill so much value. We appreciate you. Thank you for impacting our lives. You were also right. I mean, Miss Williams was it.
You were so much wiser than us because we didn't come back to see you. No, anyway, so 18 years. So I'd like to say we know a little bit about friendship. I might be lying.
No,
because I feel like we're still on our journey.
100%. But I think you never know. I feel like you never know everything about anything.
That's true.
So
let's put that on a t-shirt. That's dope. So we're here to just kind of challenge ourselves to have a conversation about friendship. I think it's a topic that we talk about a lot, of just what we thought we knew, what we're learning, what's important to us, how our boundaries have shifted. And so I just want to start the conversation off by asking, in what ways do you feel insecure about this topic of friendship or about friendship in general?
Yeah, I think for me, I would say for me, when it comes to friendship and having insecurities, I think somewhere along my journey, I started to feel insecure about a couple things. Number one, who do I have permission to be in this relationship? I think there's an insecurity of like, this person may only have a capacity to engage with a certain part of me. Like there's a deeper part of me and a deeper side of me that I wonder like, hey, do people have the capacity to hold it? And then I think that over the last couple years, I definitely developed an insecurity about, am I able to be fully, authentically celebrated in friendship without it turning into something that is unhealthy? And I mean, literally, I'm getting married in 12 days. So I had my bachelorette party a couple weeks ago. And it was like such a healing moment for me of like, oh my goodness, everybody showed up. Everybody celebrated me. I didn't lose a friend. There was no drama. There was no big issue. The vibes weren't off. And I was able to be fully celebrated in a friend level relationship without there being some type of post-trip backlash. And I think from just having a couple of experiences where that was my experience, it definitely put an insecurity in me of, well, I don't know if this is going to go well or this is going to go right, so let me avoid it. Or I even considered for my wedding, maybe I just want to do bridesmaids. Maybe I just won't have anybody standing with me. Not because that's what I genuinely wanted, but because of the insecurity of, I don't know if people can show up for me fully and celebrate me without me losing something. So I think when it comes to me, that's what I would say.
Yeah. And I think it's crazy how I'm sure all of us, wherever you are, whatever space you are, whatever you call yourself, like everyone has this trauma around friendship. Like I'm just like thinking in my head, like I know your story surrounding friendship and mine. And I'm just thinking about other people where it's like man, can I ever count on somebody as a friend? Can I ever call somebody a friend? I know with men, a lot of times it's, is this person good for me? I hear that a lot. I know my husband especially struggles with, like, I have friends, but even stepping in the season of marriage, like, are these friends going to support my new season? And even if it's not marriage, like, some people are, I have friends recovering from things who are stepping into different lifestyles, who are trying to be healthier. And they're like, they have these friendships that are like, I won't say holding them back, but these people who are trying to pull them back into the season that they were in and not necessarily being able to go forward with them.
Yeah.
And so I just think about, like, as you're talking about, man, how can it ever be different? And it just makes me think, like, my insecurity about friendship is definitely like knowing everybody's story and hearing yours, knowing mine, is like how it's crazy that not everyone has been exposed to the same definition of friendship. I am literally walking into a situation vulnerably because I'm like, I don't know which way I can be hurt because you may not have the same definition of friendship that I have.
100%. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, I mean, I feel like we could literally spend the rest of this podcast just focus on this point. There is depth to relationships in general.
Yeah.
There's a scripture, and I don't know exactly where it is, but it literally says Jesus was like surrounded by his followers, but he like picked 12, or he was surrounded by all his disciples, but he picked 12. Like it's a scripture somewhere. So maybe we can get it for the show notes, but it was very interesting to me. I actually know where the verse is, so now I have to find it. This is so fun. I'm so proud of you. I'm excited. I feel so honored. This is a very special moment. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. I feel honored that you're even supporting and coming.
Okay, I found it. One of my roles at my job is I do a lot of content creation and I prepare curriculums. And we were teaching a group of our students just about this thing that we call like a dating team. Like it's a ministry for singles. So we were teaching them about like gathering the right people on their dating team. We were talking about relationships and quality and people that you need around you.
Yeah.
There was this verse that I found. It's Luke 6:12-13. It says, one day soon afterward, Jesus went up on a mountain to pray, and he prayed to God all night. At daybreak, he called together all of his disciples and chose 12 of them to be apostles. Here are their names. So this is literally a part in the Bible where Jesus like names the 12 disciples, but I thought it was very interesting that he called together all of his disciples and chose 12 of them to be apostles. So there was clearly like levels of depth, right?
Right.
And I think that the one of the biggest misconceptions of friendship is that everyone is going to be at the same level of intimacy with you, or you're going to experience the same level of depth with each person.
Right.
And I think where it gets tricky is if you've been exposed to a certain level of depth, or at least tricky for me, it's practicing restraint with people who haven't, and having to have the discipline to say to myself, this is a level of depth that they have experienced. And I can organically and authentically go into deeper levels of intimacy with them should it lead there. But I can't be disappointed that they haven't been exposed to this level of depth and expect them to be somebody that they're not.
Right.
I can't sacrifice myself and give a lot more intimacy than they have given me and run myself at the risk of being hurt. Like, and I used to do that so much where I was like, well, why wouldn't this person this? And why wouldn't this person that? And why wouldn't this person this? And I'm judging them based upon a capacity that they don't yet have. And at the same time, I'm like ignoring all the people in my life who do have the level of that I'm experiencing in a healthy way, and I enjoy and I thrive because I'm so focused on the people who don't have it. And I'm trying to, well, maybe if I give them the energy, they'll give it back to me. They won't. Now, again, authentically and naturally, it can flow and it can happen. But I do think that's one of the biggest misconceptions we have, that number one, we're supposed to have this crazy volume of friends. And number two, that everyone is going to give us the same level of depth. And number three, that level of depth will be consistent. You may have a friend that you have like extreme intimacy with in one season, and then they go through something or you go through something. And I think our culture, just the tone of our culture is so selfish, right? Like people share all this stuff on social media of, this person is no longer for me.
Right.
Like we have this culture of like this selfish mentality that everything that happens to us, everything that goes on is because like we elevated and because like we outgrew people. But sometimes that person is experiencing like the most tragic season of their life, or you do not know how to effectively communicate as much as you think you know how. Again, different levels of depth in friendship. You're not going to get it from everybody. Volume in friendship does not mean quality. And third, seasons change, things ebb and flow, like things go up and down. And I think giving yourself and the people in your life grace,
right,
knowing that not every hurt that we experience in friendship is because someone wanted to intentionally hurt us. Sometimes people are just like going through things and healing and processing. And in the same sense, if we all be honest and humble, there have been places and seasons in our lives we didn't show up as the best friend.
Right.
We didn't show up.
Let's stay there real quick because you're saying so much good stuff right here. No, I mean, it's all good. Like I just want to let you keep talking because you're saying so much good stuff. But I just want to like kind of ride this wave of like you were saying, like we have these like high expectations of people. We have these sometimes low expectations of ourselves showing up in friendships. Sometimes we have lack of grace. Sometimes we have so much grace to the point, and I won't even call it grace because I feel like that's doing grace a disservice. I feel like sometimes it's a lack of boundaries where we don't want to, establish boundaries with people. And so I imagine that everybody's definition of friendship is going to be different. Let's just chat about it. Like, how does one go about even creating our own definition of friendship or asking somebody to honor our definition of friendship?
Yeah. It would be very hard to talk about how to go about defining friendship to you or figuring out what you need in friendship without talking about identity. Mm-hmm. I think everything for me, it always stems back to identity. And, in the podcast and just with me having this revelation about me being a daughter of God, it's just really transformed the way I view myself, what I believe about myself. And I think all of us can think back to a version of ourselves that wasn't as healed as we are today, or didn't know as much about ourselves as we know about ourselves today. As you change, your definition of a friend will change.
Yeah.
As you grow and evolve, and unfortunately, as you experience more success, your definition of a friend will change. So I think that I will argue that it's less about defining what a friend is to you and more about defining what you need in the season you're in. But to that though, taking the time with God to sort out what sources are you supposed to get it from.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we think, and that's why a lot of friendships end, or one person is miserable, the other person is getting all the benefit. Because I want my friend to be my therapist, my comfort, my peace, my this, my that. When it's like, okay, what does Amanda need in this season of her life? She needs this, and this. Mm-hmm. All right, God, where am I supposed to get these things? Okay, Amanda, this is going to come from me. This is going to come from your husband. This is going to come from a friend.
Yeah.
This is going to come from a mentor. This is going to come from a book. This is going to come from therapy. And just like really looking at relationships as a whole. And then I think the second part is, I feel like our parents used to say this to us when we were younger, like, to have friends, you got to be friendly. But I think sometimes like we are so focused on what we need in a friendship, what we're looking for in a friend, when it's like, what do I bring to a friendship level relationship? What do I offer? What can I bring to the table?
Let's stay there.
Else, because all relationships at their core are about service. Now, sometimes the service is one-sided, but most of the times the service should be two-sided, right?
Right.
Like, it's about service. So I think we spend so much time like selfishly, well, my friends is this, and I'm looking for friends, and I want a best friend. Okay, but what do you serve? What do you offer? Like, I know in my relationships, the people who are my friends, anything. If I got it, it's yours.
Right.
Call me anytime, I'm here. Like, and I mean, Nisha can definitely attest to it. We, like I said, we've been friends for 18 years. That's not because of, just happenstance. And that also wasn't 18 years of perfect and no conflict and no distance and no, issue or no problem. But I think that number one, assessing like who you are and what you need. And secondly, what you bring to the table. What type of friend are you? When was the last time?
I love that. Let's stay there because I want to kind of do both. I want to kind of talk about what we can do as friends. And then I want to talk about for the people who, unfortunately, I know desperately want friends so badly that they're willing to accept any type of treatment and call it a friend. And I kind of want to speak to that as well about like, hey, this is what you might need to put more boundaries in place when you see. And hey, this is what we actually need to focus on in us. And I want to start there because I heard you say that friendship isn't just about having a friend, but it's about being a friend. And I appreciate that so much because we can only do so much if we don't start with ourselves, because that's what we can control. And I'm all about what can we control? What do we actually have control over? And so I just have a couple points. I'm gonna throw them out there and we can chat. We can go back and forth, bounce off each other. But I just want to say to the people out in podcast land, be open to the fact that you may suck. And I don't mean that I don't want to put you down. I am not here to put the people down in podcast land. Niche gang back me up. Okay. Like, I don't mean you suck as an entire human being, but what I'm saying is maybe you don't have it all figured out when it comes to friendship.
100%. 100. I mean, literally, Nisha, 125%. And I think that when we go into any relationship only seeking to be served and not allowing that thing to serve us, we're going to lack humility.
Right.
So at the end of the day, friendships are challenging, are difficult. Go through, it's a beautiful thing. But at the end of the day, if it's not refining you, if it's not making you better, if it's not growing you, like if iron is not sharpening iron, if you have a friendship where y'all haven't had no conflict, no issue, no difference of opinion in, I don't know, 5 years, probably not your friend.
Probably not your friend. Right.
Somebody's not being honest. Somebody's not telling the truth.
Somebody's not being vulnerable.
Yeah, somebody's not being vulnerable.
And I love how you brought up the memes earlier about like, you got to get you a friend who's going to stay up in the middle of the night till 3 o'clock when they got to work tomorrow. And they're going to just listen to your every thought and hear you rant. Listen, I'm here for to stop with the meme because sometimes you are the person that you're talking about. Yeah. Like when you're like, oh, you're not a friend when you don't, you're not a friend when you don't listen, you're not a friend when you don't show up. When I call you, you're not a friend. This is the third time I asked you to do something. And listen, sometimes you are the friend and you may not be a friend to that person that you're talking about, but sometimes you are the friend to someone else. Have you asked your circle how you actually show up? Like Amanda is raising her hand and I love it.
Can I go, please? Can I go?
Yes.
So I literally, y'all, I got my computer. I'm a definitions person. I love words. Like I'm obsessed with words. And all my TFB ladies, if y'all are listening to this episode, which I know y'all gonna come through, y'all gonna support laughing and crying.
Yes.
Like, I'm always like, y'all know me and my definitions. So like I love words. And when you were saying that, I was reminded of something that I saw and I learned about this particular word and it changed my life. And I think that when we're not able to see the reality that we suck, or we have this mentality of thinking about all we need in friendship, and if a person don't call, da 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 da. And I remember when the pandemic was going on, it was some posts going around saying like, well, this pandemic, if it did one thing, it showed you who your friends are.
Come on, yeah.
One word, Nisha, sonder. Have you ever heard of the word sonder?
I actually haven't. Teach me something.
SONDER. This is a definition of the word. The realization that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own.
What?
Why do I bring that up? Because y'all, in relationships, we have to honor the definition of the word sonder. Okay, like you had a bad day. That person is living a reality that might be bad too. Okay, you're struggling with this. That person has struggled as well. So it's like we almost have this mentality sometimes in relationship, not just in friendship, of this person's world supposed to revolve around me, or this person is supposed to be fully about me serving me, and not having the humility and the posture of I'm supposed to be in a reciprocating relationship. So I got to give that person grace. They're going to have off days. The same way I want them to give me grace if I have an off day. Or even I know I had a particular friend who I'm not as close with now. Every single time I would get on a call with this person, I would start talking about something that's happening in my life because they would ask me how you're doing. I'm thinking it's a safe space, we talk. And by the end of the talk, it was some type of way that it kind of flipped to be all about them. And it's just like, Sonder, y'all, same way you got stuff, other people have stuff. Not just I'm going into a friendship to be served. I'm going into a friendship to serve and be served as well.
I love that because it brings to our next point. So like, first off, friendship is being open to the fact that you may not know everything about the subject, right? So being open to the fact that in friendship, you may suck. Second, friendship is understanding that fairy tales aren't real. Like, and I think that's what you were speaking to a little bit, Amanda, at least how I define it, of like, understanding the world does not revolve around you. Friendship is not perfect. Friendship is not a perfect person. Friendship is not somebody showing up for you every single time you need them to. It's not a fairy tale. Like sometimes we're trying to use a friendship to heal from another relationship that didn't do what they were supposed to do. And listen, that friendship can't be a fairy tale in that way either. It cannot replace your dad. It cannot replace your mom. It cannot replace the big brother that you wish you would have had, but didn't show up for you. And I'm speaking to myself, you guys. Like, I know I speak with a lot of conviction, but it's the conviction that's hitting me too. So I don't want you to think I'm beating up on you. Third, like, friendship is letting a relationship refine you.
Yeah. One of the things I could definitely say, a couple things. I am getting married in 12 days. And I know on this journey of marriage, I have a lot to learn. But what I will say is during my dating process and my engagement process, there were so many moments that my fiance and I faced. Hey, honey, I love you. Can't wait to marry you. Literally, there were so many moments that we had or different conflicts that came up where I'm just like, oh, I've seen this before. Oh, me and Nisha, we had a disagreement before. Oh, this is how we navigated that conversation. I've had somebody tell me the truth in love before.
Yes.
I might have responded this way this time, but they gave me the space to grow. So now when he's telling me something that is the truth in love, I'm not lashing out on him. You can't tell me that, because friendships have refined me. And I think that you cannot expect to have a quality marriage without navigating through quality relationships.
It's real, you guys.
Because again, the refinement is a real thing. Like, I cannot tell you how many times have I called you and I said, Nisha, tell me if I'm wrong.
Right. And it's so powerful.
And I'll be like, Nisha, this is what happened. And you'll be like, well, actually, and I'm like, I don't like you.
You don't have to do me like that, though.
I'm listening to you, right? And I mean, vice versa too. There's been times when I've been like, okay, I see what you're saying, but here's some more data. I always say this: here's some more data to maybe round out your perspective a little bit more. But 100%, I think letting friendships refine you makes you a better person. The person that you have the potential to become as a result of that is amazing.
And I love it, like what you were saying, like letting people tell you things in love. Because honestly, the way I see it, at least me, Nisha, if you're somebody who doesn't want to hurt people, you will continue to be the person that hurts people if you don't let someone who loves you, who is wise, refine you. Because that's something that you have to allow to happen. It's not something that somebody can force upon you. And I know Dre's not here to speak for himself, but I know, like, in his new seasons of friendships, he talks about a lot. And you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have Dre on here to have a conversation. Maybe I'll do like a guys only and have him talk about his relationships pertaining to guys. But I know that he's going through a season of finally like humbling and saying, you know what? I need to let the people around me refine me, because I can't keep bulldozing through life thinking I know what's best, and I need to be a good friend. Okay, I have 2 more points, and then we're going to move on to what friendship is not. Okay, one more is it's okay to plan forever with people. And I say this speaking to the point of vulnerability, because I think sometimes we think we're so much preparing for people to leave, and we don't ever plan for people to stay. And so we don't open up. And forever honestly can look different from season to season, but if we never fully give ourselves to the people, Amanda is exhausted of me.
I mean, I am tired. No, I say that because, and I mean, Nisha, you know this. Like we were just talking about this the other day.
Yeah.
Like about like me and relationships, right? And I think what you're saying about you can plan for forever. I think that when you have been hurt relationally,
Mm-hmm.
and I talk about this in this podcast episode that I need to like finish editing and post tonight. But it's like walls and gardens. And I literally was talking about when you get hurt, we do one or two things. We either put up a wall to protect ourselves, or we allow God to grow a garden to produce fruit in our lives. And if you look at the way a wall is built and the way a garden is grown, they both start with soil. They both start with dirt. They both start with this foundation that is something that is not good. So hurt is going to make us go one way or the other. And I think what you're talking about, like it's okay to plan for forever, is literally saying to yourself, I am willing to go through discomfort with somebody who is worth it. And I think that our mentality is, oh, you hurt me once, I ain't gonna never be hurt that way again. You ain't gonna never da 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 da. You ain't gonna never. And half the time, we don't even have a conversation with the person to let them know how they hurt us and give them an opportunity to either prove our theory.
You're not gonna make me cry on this Laughing and Cry podcast.
And they're gonna do that, or prove us wrong and give them the opportunity to show up different. Like we rob people so many times. Number one, we rob them of their growth. Because if I'm not telling you how you hurt me, you literally may not know, but I did not have a conversation with you. So you may continue to go on unaware, do it to the next person when God gave me the opportunity to refine you, but I didn't speak up. Second, it also leads to the fact that longevity and this whole obsession with perfection, like we're not perfect people. So at the end of the day, I have to go into a relationship knowing like I'm not getting a whole perfect person and I'm not a whole perfect person. So there's going to be some bumps in the road. There's going to be some bumps in the journey. But planning forever with people, I think, is looking forward to not leaving at the first time.
Come on. Listen, let me break it down because my therapist kind of played me and it's fine. And I hope you listen to this because I'm gonna tell you about yourself. I gave him the name of my podcast on purpose, but now I realized by accident because he played me. And he said, "Hey Nisha, I want to challenge you to be a little bit more vulnerable. And what vulnerability is opening up yourself to the possibility of being hurt." And I think that the reality, and I am getting a little emotional because like the reality is like planning forever with someone. Like I'm speaking to the people out in podcast land who's been hurt a lot. Yeah. Like, listen, planning forever with someone is hard, especially when you've been hurt, especially when you've been hurt by the same person over and over. But when I tell you, when she's talking about these gardens, and I know we're using different metaphors and whatnot, but the beauty that comes out of a relationship that you've allowed to blossom is ridiculous. And you're missing out. If you do not have the conversation, if you do not allow the pain to burn a little, if you don't allow the time, because it like the pain heals, okay? The wounds heal. And it's not about just it's not about just letting time pass for the wounds to heal. It's about what you do in that time and giving somebody the opportunity who's willing and ready to say, I messed up, let me try again. Giving them that opportunity is something that I cannot explain to you, the beauty that comes out of that. So just to my friends who's rolling their eyes at me saying plan forever with somebody, like I feel you, I get you. Like I am you, I am she, or I am he, all the things in between. Listen, I am you, but I need you to know that it is possible and it is worth it.
Yeah.
So.
And I would say too, like to your point, like you don't know what you're missing when you don't do that. And I think, we don't have to get into it here, but y'all, me and Nisha didn't talk to each other for like 4 months.
It was longer than that, bro. But yeah.
It was a long time.
Yeah.
It was a lot of hurt. And I think one thing that I tell people now, I say it all the time, it's like my quote. Anytime I'm talking to my team members or talking to a friend or working through somebody with conflict and they don't want to talk to a person, I'm like, y'all, time tells us all the story.
Come on.
Time tells us all the
really,
story.
really does.
And the more time you let pass, the worse that story's gonna get. And some of your story may have some truth in it, but you're never gonna get the full picture of what truly happened and what's real until you come together with the person who was in the story with you, and y'all compare and contrast to get a healthy version of what happened. And I think that, you know, even to your point of what you're saying, like I think even our friendship today and the fact that we're on this podcast and the fact that, you know, we have had this beautiful season of blossoming is a testament to what you're saying. Right. Because at one time, I don't think either one of us knew but I think for me at the time, like my dysfunction was like me being a perfectionist, me not wanting to like have somebody tell me that I was, you know, not showing up in the bed. Like I used to avoid conflict. Like my communication skill, my ability to talk to people about, hey, here's what I'm feeling, or hey, here's what I went back and I saw this and I saw I was wrong here. Like that ability wasn't mature at that time. It took time for me to grow and to evolve and to get to that space. So I think that same concept of, you know, planning forever. I even recently had a friend that I reconnected with, and it was just like one of the most beautiful conversations, and the reconnection happened. And now it's just working towards building whatever God has planned to come from our relationship and our connection. So I do think that like giving people a try, you know, is a real thing, because it's like we want it so bad. But at the first sign of somebody being anything that's not perfect, it's the wall. Yeah. Like you said, instead of the garden. And the one thing I talked about in the podcast is about how like you can build a wall quicker than you can grow a garden. Like a wall, boom, up. You could literally build a wall tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But a garden, you gotta water that thing every day. You gotta till the soil. You gotta plant the seed.
Come on, bro. I want you to shut up.
Which is why it's God growing the garden. Yeah. And you being able to give it the time that it takes and give it the nurture and the intention that it takes to let it bloom into something beautiful. But when you build a wall, you block all that beauty out.
Right.
And we think the wall is protection when it's really a trap. And all we do is sit in the dark here and suffer.
This just tells me, bro, we need another podcast, because we just going to set up another time, because we need to listen. It's not over. It's not over. Y'all about to get more of us. It's not over. It's just getting started. Listen, because there's more to say, bro. There's more to say. And y'all need to go listen to this Walls and Gardens podcast over on the Table for Daughters, because I'm about to do that right when I get off of here anyway. But anyway, last point on how to be a friend that's going to lead us into what to avoid in friendship is, because it's kind of like twofold, is a friend is willing to grieve old friendships of people who no longer want to do the work, because all relationships are work. And sometimes we do a disservice to people when we want to keep them in situations they no longer want to be in.
Oh my God. I want to cry now.
It's in the name. It's in the name. And sometimes being a good friend is letting people go.
Oh my gosh.
And just being willing to say, hey, that was great, but it takes two. And
letting them go with
peace. Yeah,
without the story being them as the villain and you as the victim.
Right.
Like, I think when I had the revelation, the same way I'm God's daughter, that other person is God's daughter. The same way God loves me, God loves that person. The same way God is working on me, God is working on that person.
Right.
It was a game changer. And I think, to your point, the reason why I say like I feel like crying with this particular piece, because Nisha, I have struggled with grieving and letting it go. Like I want to like
me too.
try. And I had a situation happen a couple years ago. It took me like a year of therapy just to be able to speak this person's name and not break down in tears. And I think also learning how to grieve and let someone go when you don't have the clarity or the closure that you feel like you
You
deserve.
need, yeah.
And sometimes we have to create closure for ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's difficult to do.
Yeah, this podcast is closure for me on a lot of things. I'm just saying.
Literally, because sometimes what I don't understand, what I want the clarity, what I want them to answer this question, but are you going to continue to suffer and put yourself in turmoil if you don't get it? Sometimes it just has to be, hey, I don't know exactly what happened, but I tried to reach out and I tried to call and I tried to have the conversation, but I wasn't able to, but I did my part. And that's the closure for me, knowing that I attempted, and the rest I just got to give to God and let it go.
I love it. And I love how it transitions into this other of like, I mean, I don't want to call it what not to do. I just want to call it like what to be aware of. And that point kind of turning it on its head is stop trying to rescue people and help beyond your capacity, because there are people who are in situations where they may want to stay, and so they're going to fight to stay, and they don't have the capability, the capacity to stay in your life because it's a place where maybe you need to put a boundary up. Maybe it's just dysfunction, all around dysfunction. Maybe it's they're not willing to do the work, like we said in the other place. Maybe all the things that takes to be a friend, they're just still in that selfish place. Maybe they're still in that place where they feel like you need to show up for them or replace a relationship they've lost or whatever it may be. You can't rescue them.
Yeah. And I think just knowing just timing, like time and season. Like, I think I've definitely had to learn, man, that was the season I was called to be in their life, but that was the season they were called to be in my life. And when people move on, that doesn't mean this bad, horrible story about them. And it doesn't mean this bad, horrible story about me. We just have to be able to let it go and just not, like you said, not try to rescue. And I think any person who's listening to this podcast who is called to some type of serving element of life, if you work in any type of service base or a ministry base, I think this is where you need to be on high alert and high awareness of, hey, like, I'm called to serve people in this way, but rescuing was never my job. Can I share one?
Yeah.
I would say you need to be aware of people who can't celebrate with you.
Okay.
I think that's a huge one. Like, I think pay close attention to how the people in your life respond when you win, because I think some people, their friendship to you is more about them having someone to be, faster than, quicker than, more accomplished than, more advanced than, and you're there as an accessory to their glory, versus, hey, I'm here to see you win, you're here to see me win. So I think definitely paying attention to how people show up for you and how people support you when you win. And I don't mean that from the dysfunctional social media culture quote dynamic. I mean it from a genuine place of just making sure you have people around you who care about you being well, you being healthy, you reaching your goals just as much as you do.
Yeah. I think that's like, if you have somebody in your life that's jealous of you or trying to compete with you, like, that's a dangerous game, bruh.
Oh, it's horrible. And that's how stuff gets really serious. Like, things get dangerous in that zone. And I think just trusting our intuition, because you know it, you see it. Yeah. Like, you literally know it when you see it, but we try to paint these stories about people in our lives that aren't real, hoping that if we draw the fantasy for them enough, they'll transform into it, and they won't.
And I'll even throw in on top of there, and I feel for the people who are in friendships where that may be your only friend and you're trying to hold on because you're like, man, I don't really have anybody else, but it's not worth your sanity. It's not worth your self-esteem to stay in a relationship with somebody who your only purpose to them is to make themselves feel better by tearing you down.
Yeah. And I think even to your point of like, if that's your only friend, I remember you told me this one time, I was talking to you about me moving to a new city and just trying to figure out what I needed relationally. And you were talking about like making space.
Yeah, come on now.
Sometimes it's just about letting go just so you can make space.
Yeah.
And if it's like, well, this is my only friend, I don't know who else I have, but that person could be taking up space for a person who is ready to come in your life and give you what you need and nourish your soul and feed your spirit in a way that you haven't experienced. But you got this, this mean person blocking the way to where they can't find the space to get in.
Right. And I love that. Like, create the space, because there could be people like you just said, like you said, trying to get in. They want to be in your life. They want to love on you, but you got yourself focused on this other person. Like, you got to create space. But we got to finish this conversation over on the Patreon, because listen, I need to get in some more of this. Like, I got more things to ask. I got more things to tell.
Y'all got to come over, because there's
we gonna finish this conversation on the Patreon. It's about to be on and popping. So if you want to be a part of that, come on over. But I got a question to ask you guys. How you feel? Amanda, how you feel?
I feel good. I feel a lot of different emotions, honestly. Like, a part of me wants to cry.
Yeah, I'm there.
Because it's like going through so much relationally. A part of me is proud of myself that I just see how much I could have picked up bitterness.
Yeah.
Or I could have picked up a selfish story.
Yeah.
And what I was able to pick up because of God was wisdom.
Yeah.
That I'm not able to apply. And then another part of me feels like this awkward excitement to continue to go into this like bittersweet joy and danger zone that is friendship.
Right.
I feel like friendship is like this people always talk about Kanye, but his album title, my dark twisted fantasy, like I use that title so many times to explain so many things, because I feel like friendship it's just this weird like paradox of beauty and ugly at the same time. I could go on and on, but I said all that to say friendship is worth it.
Yes.
Doing the work, going through the seasons, making the investment, serving and allowing yourself to be served is worth it. We do not have the capacity or the ability to become all God has called us to be on this earth without having quality friendships in our lives, literally. So I'm gonna stop talking now.
No, I love it. And all the runoff of the conversation, Patreon, y'all definitely got it. But how you feel? People out there in podcast land, you heard how I felt. You heard me tearing up over here. You heard how Amanda felt. How do you feel? What type of friend are you? Have you? Hey, if you say I'm just
praise God, 12 days.
You say I'm just oh baby, you. No, I'm joking. What type of friend are you? Have you evaluated your friendships? Are you doing that right now? Have you been doing that as we've been talking? And if you have, you know where to go. Tell me how you feel over on the podcast episode page at Unleashthaneesh.com. That's Unleash THA-niche.com, or you could always send in your comments at laugh@unleashthaneesh.com. That's Unleash THA-niche.com. Or you could join the community over here. I'm telling you, we're going to be talking about it. We're going to be talking about Married at First Sight. We're going to be talking about this conversation. Dre's going to come on. He's going to be talking about friendship and males. We're going to get that popping. There's conversation over there. There's community over there. I tell you guys, I'm all about the community. All about the community. So if you want to be a part of that, go to patreon.com/Unleashthaneesh. We here. You know what I mean? And Amanda, where can they find you?
Yeah, y'all, you can find me on the Instagram. I'm on these internet streets as at Hello Miss Ross. That's HELLOMSROSS.
Let's go.
And also Table for Daughters podcast on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts and things of the sorts. I also am building a TFD community over on Facebook. So if you type in TFD community, you can request to join the group. It will be opening early September. So we are, that community piece is so big, so important.
And for the people in the back, that's Table for Daughters podcast. Okay.
That's the
TFD community over on Facebook. Go support my friends. You know what I'm saying? You want to be a part of that. And listen, I think that's it.
Can I say something before you?
Yes, say something.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. That means more than you know.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I think what you're doing, like I could literally get emotional. I think every time I hear you share, I think from even high school, hella deep, like you doing
Come on,
poems,
Holiday.
or you telling stories, or it's passing back and forth that journal every day that we used to halfway argue in, or I feel like you've always been this person who had a lot to say. And I think God has like gifted you with so many ways to say it and express it. And I'm just so proud of you for the bravery and the boldness and the vulnerability that is taking for you to get before a mic and share with people. And I want you to know, I'm not, I'll drop a comment for you,
Hey,
on
do
the
it.
link. But I think more than being proud of you, I'm excited for what you've given God permission to do by saying yes and stepping to the mic and speaking what it is on your heart. And I think with your voice and your story and your creative ability, it's just blessed me tonight. And me being able to come on your podcast, I'm just so privileged, so honored. Like I know when this podcast is like 100,000 subscribers.
Come on, speak it. 100,000 subscribers.
I was on episode 4. I was on, what episode is this?
12.
I was on episode 12.
I think. If I'm wrong, though.
Period. Laughing and crying. So I'm just excited to be a part of your story and to be with you on your journey and to be a friend. So yeah, I'm just proud. I just wanted to say that.
Listen, I wouldn't have made it here without you, bruh. I appreciate that because you're one of the people that push me and inspire me to continue to be brave. So thank you. And listen, I want this to go down in history because I'm here for the 100,000 subscribers. I'm here for the being brave, multiplying throughout this world. I'm here for the impact because, maybe we can impact the world or something. You feel me? I'll leave you with that. Bye. Bye.